What is going on YouTube? This is Acid Roots. So I'm going to review an unofficial but kind of street official mixtape by Nicki Minaj. Basically this product is called Barbie World, the mixtape, and it came out in the winter of 2010. So the thing about this particular product was this was originally seen as an official mixtape by Nicki Minaj, not like full-blown like it had her complete authorization. It was definitely something that had the heraldment of just the packaging as if it were damn near an official product, and just kind of has the warranty behind it that this is definitely a more popular product than it isn't. Has some song snags on here that just are not on any Nicki Minaj album. These are just kind of like some teasers and just overall leftovers from like her fair and slag that she had of the process of making in like the very early late 2009 early 2010 stages of making Pink Friday. I'd say, but I'd probably say that I don't even know if Nicki Minaj had come up with the night. Not even as full-blown sure if Nicki Minaj had come up with the title for the album Pink Friday back in the winter of 2010 as far as those pitches kind of happen. So it's just kind of the concept. It's just the early format of just something. Just when you look after the process that Nicki Minaj did not have terribly many solo songs back in like the fall of 2009, winter 2010. I mean, she had like Beam Me Up Scotty was a pretty heralded mixtape back in 2009, but it was kind of as things were getting fleshed out as she was starting to advance like her solo career as far as those pitches kind of happen. So yeah, this came out right on the heels of the Young Money album from late 2009. Has a lot of leftovers on here. Out of 25 songs in this particular mixtape, there's at least 21 I recommend. Now there probably would be 22 out of 25 songs on this particular mixtape. Not kind of in the intro that narrows it down to 24, and out of those 24 songs I wound up recommending at least 22, but I look after it, there's at least 21 that I've listened to that it probably would be 22 if I could listen to the song Get Your Paper Up. That's kind of a trickier song to acquire just because of the concept for a number of reasons. For one thing, the Internet Archive is down, which is the only website that has this particular mixtape, which is very unfortunate. I looked around for it, couldn't find it, but then on top of that, it is on YouTube. But the concept about it is that I want to say that Nicki Minaj, or at least something within the fashion, has the basic song Get Your Paper Up is just not on like YouTube to be able to find, so it's just kind of within the pitch. I'm not sure as to the reason behind why that song is so elusive, but it's just kind of concept, it's just not available. Possibly, I mean, if I ever get the chance, I would assume just within the product behind it that it's probably a pretty star-studded song. This is at least a Nicki Minaj song that may have been like a Lucy or something like that, something that's kind of like a throwaway single. I do want to hear it, but it just was not available as far as those pitches can happen. But it probably would be 22 songs out of 24 if I enjoyed that song. So it's just the pitch behind it. But the thing about it is, out of these 24 songs, there are actually songs on here. At least 15 of those songs are on other albums or just like guest features that Nicki Minaj kind of did and such. So I kind of look after you get like about an EP's worth, a little bit more, 8, 9, 10 songs of about project. You get about 8, 9, 10 songs of which that are original songs, or at least songs that are tougher to track down. There's a few mixtape songs I'm going to review on here that are on mixtapes that were popping around 2009 that I don't know when I'll get to, so I'm just going to review them now to kind of get to them just within the pitch. If it does take longer than 2025 or early 20, if it does take longer than 2025 or 2026 to get to, like Maya, I have no clue when I'm going to get to Maya, and like Zaytoven dropped mixtapes, so it's just within the pitch behind it. But yeah, so basically I want to say that there at least was a single off this particular mixtape. Now once again, the product of this particular mixtape is the kind of assortment behind this is just kind of in like eerie kind of territory, just because the concept of whether or not the amalgamation really had Nicki Minaj's official stamp is kind of similar to like the Heartbreak Drake mixtape that I reviewed a little ways ago, just within the pitch behind it. It's kind of the concept that I think it at least had the amalgamation of having some degree of format of being able to compile these just with like that, the glossy album artwork and some pitches like that. But I just question what Nicki Minaj were to actually think of this particular one. It's kind of similar like when you think of Lil Wayne as to what he probably thinks of songs like I Feel Like Dying and I'm a Beast and some of those type of ones, and like other songs like Off of the Drought is Over to, some of those type pitches. Same thing with Drake with Heartbreak Drake. I'd say it's just kind of the pitch that these unofficial products are very awesome, but just kind of questions the conduct of what these artists would particularly think. I think in some fashion, I think they probably do have some degree of candor towards it, but it just doesn't care. Like the actual, like Wikipedia will only list projects that have like the official stamp as far as saying, Nicki Minaj only officially dropped 3 mixtapes, but there were some ones with all the product of the music that she dropped that found its way onto some of these. So it's worth it to get this. It's like the pseudo kind of fourth official mixtape by Nicki Minaj. Might as well be treated as much the unofficial fourth, I'd say. But yeah, so single out this product in some fashion. This is probably the most banner song. This is a song that did actually chart on the Billboard charts. If you look on Wikipedia, you can find it there, but it's Girlfriend yeah, just before I talk about Girlfriend, I'll talk about the 2 songs I don't recommend on here. So basically, the only 2 songs out of 24 songs that are actually songs I don't recommend on here would just be Gutta Gutta's Always Love You with Nicki Minaj and Short Dog, which is on his Guttaville album or mixtape, and then like the Cypher, which is basically the Cypher just had a cruddy kind of boom bap type beat on there that just didn't work that well. I mean, typically like Cyphers, I do like Cyphers as far as seeing them be able to freestyle, but a lot of times when they do those Cyphers, they don't pick good productions that actually work real well. It has that vintage Cypher feel that just doesn't work, and I look after it like Always Love You. It just kind of felt like, before I kind of felt like that was a hammy type song. I like the product of that particular song being like a more kind of just hard on your sleeve type song, but just the approach behind it. I mean, the emotions on the song are correct, but it just didn't really nail it in like the execution, how it delivered upon it. So it's just kind of within the pitch. But so yeah, we'll go ahead and talk about these songs. So basically, out of the 9 songs that are not on other projects like features that Nicki Minaj did in 2009, and like the Young Money album and the Birdman album, some of those type pitches of like the Cash Money fold, I'd say the 7 songs I'm going to talk about on here, the 8 songs I'll recommend on here would be Girlfriend, Fuck You Silly, Me Casa, Saxon, Getting Paid, Easy, Ponytail, and Out My Face remix. So the reason why I'm talking about the Mariah Carey song Up Out My Face remix is just because the actual remix with Nicki Minaj on there is not on any project. Like the original Up Out My Face was on Mariah Carey's 2009 album, but the remix with Nicki Minaj is not on there, so I'm going to talk about it just because I'm not sure as to where to find this particular remix with her on it on any project, so I'll just talk about it here. And then I would have to say there's 2 songs that are on mixtapes on this particular product. One is Maya's Ponytail, which features Nicki Minaj, which is on a Maya mixtape from 2009. And then Gucci Mane has a song called Easy, which features Nicki Minaj and Rocco. So that was a song that's supposedly on a Zaytoven mixtape. I don't really know the whole details about that one. Something that probably came out in mid-late 2009, somewhere in there. Nicki Minaj and Gucci Mane did a bunch of songs. I'll probably find that at some stage, but I'm going to talk about it now because I just don't know when I would ever get to that one. But yeah, that would be the 8 songs on here. So basically, Girlfriend is like a throwback kind of Young Money-esque kind of pop rap club surfing of a song, I'd have to say here. Just some early 2010s kind of fizzy dance step outs to kind of get. It's basically within the tone. If you like stuff like Blood on the Dance Floor and Young Money, Tyga type songs, some of those type pitches, is something that just really feels like Super Bass by Nicki Minaj. It's kind of like a sketchy kind of rough draft type version of something Nicki Minaj would kind of do with Super Bass, which was a smash hit, one of the bigger hits out of summer of 2011 in rap music. Some of those type fares is kind of an early type fare for that. These are pretty quality type songs to kind of get. It's too bad that there weren't more Young Money projects. Like a real esteemed project I've been trying to find for the longest time that I would really like to review is Young Money's Castle mixtape. I really feel like that's a vicious type one just because I know that was around the time when Young Money dropped We Are Young Money. Came out in like the spring, winter of 2010. I don't know what happened to it. It was around. I don't know like if there was an official track listing. It may just be this like compiled songs, but I want to say there was probably some new stuff on there, and it does not really have any details, and it's just a vast disappointment that it's just not available anywhere. But this is kind of the pitch of some of those type Young Money type songs that are around that particular format. I'm sure that the Castle project probably had some of that too, but Girlfriend's a definite nice one. This is one that charted back in early 2010. It's just kind of a primer, kind of initial just initial Nicki Minaj solo song as she started to branch out throughout the course of 2010 as far as those pitch can happen. Just a definite nice one. Pretty much you could definitely download this particular mixtape when it becomes available again, just probably for this song. It's just that good within the pitch. But Fuck You Silly with Cassie is a pretty nice one. I'm not sure what happened with Cassie. Cassie was at least someone that dropped an album in 2006. She was on Puff Daddy's Bad Boy Records label, but she just never dropped a second album. She did drop some mixtapes. I remember she dropped a mixtape in 2013, but I don't know where this particular song went, if it was on a mixtape that she dropped. But Fuck You Silly is basically like a nightclub kind of thrash of a song to kind of get here. Just some heavy hitting kind of stunt tunes to kind of get. Just reminds of like late 2000s Ciara, I'd have to say. It's like a dance floor go ham to kind of get. So it just has a lot of gloss and glamour about it. Just a nice pitch. Just really feels like the dark. Cassie really pulls off like a dark songstress type vibes like Ciara did back in the late 2000s. Like I was saying, it's a good type pitch to kind of get for some of that type fare. It's real nice stunt turn up as far as that would particularly kind of happen. Just nice jazziness kind of get. Basically like a more early 2010s version of something like Ciara's Oh, one of those type pitches. little bit of two-step type feel, this little bit more emphatic type one, oozing type one, but works pretty well for that. Mikasa is a nice one. This is a real snappy type one, but this works as like a pretty good snippet of like this. Mikasa works as like a pretty good snippet of a song from Nicki Minaj. Nice appetizer to get here is like a rich and savory kind of stunt night quickie to kind of have. Feeling good in like the late night air. I definitely feel like about this one, just a primp and kind of in between excitement of a song to kind of get here as far as those pitches kind of happen. Just waiting for your bay to get ready as far as those pitches kind of happen. Just in between type moments, just the standard fare, just some pizzazz, just really looking minty and some of those typeness just to be able to get for some step out just within the tone. It's real nice jazziness. This feels like something chandelier like, a little bit more graceful about it. I do like these sorts of Nicki Minaj songs. Too bad there wasn't a song like this on Pink Friday, I'd have to say. Maybe there was. Too bad there wasn't a song like this on Pink Friday as far as those pitches kind of happen. I do like some of this gloss typeness, just a little bit more blue blood-esque to be able to have. It's a real bite-sized one that works. Saxon is a nice one. Now, I've heard this particular production. This is a familiar production. I want to say it's a Rihanna song, but I don't know which particular song. But this is like a warped kind of night craze of a song kind of get here. Just a nice, vicious EDM and dubstep bouncer to kind of have. And this song definitely livens things, I'd have to say. It's just a pitch behind it. It's a real thrilling type one. Just to get some rather gnarled type turn up just within that fare. Works pretty easily as like a crowd pleaser and social type bite to kind of get. Getting Paid is a nice one. It's another highlight. Basically, all these new Nicki Minaj songs, or at least the ones that are less familiar, kind of similar to like her Playtime Is Over mixtape from 2007. There's just some real nice social vibe ones to get on here that's just different from like her pop rap appeal on like Pink Friday. I'd say a lot of these do have some snarl about them that do feel like kind of alternative pitch that do have like some good dance club type smash. Kind of an in between of like Blood on the Dance Floor, Ciara, with a little bit of David Guetta in there in like certain senses just within the pitch behind it with some good tones for that. It's like Getting Paid is like a chopped and screwed kind of trunk rattler to kind of get here. Just a good night blitzer and minty step out to kind of have. Definitely some good pizzazz for that, and this has some hella bass about it and it's a good enjoy to kind of have. So it's just a good pitch, kind of get that one. This is another relatively quick song, but it works pretty well. It's just like some in between type moments of just some good snappy kind of turn up for just like some craziness, I'd have to say. And the Gucci Mane song Easy is a pretty nice one. Now, I want to say this is on the Zaytoven mixtape, not as full bound sure, but it might be called like Wilt Chamberlain or something like that, one of those type pitches. But you can find the song has Nicki Minaj, Rocco, and Gucci Mane on there. That's like a slurred out kind of typical late day work shift unwind to kind of get here. Just hella slag, smoke a few, cruise around. I would definitely feel like about this one, just a good song to waste some time too. So just look at it. I really feel like the particular slag about this song, it just kind of feels like almost jarring just within the pitch. It just kind of a scuzzy type feeling just within the aspect of this work shift, but then just it's kind of a scuzzy type feeling of this work shift, but then trying to figure out what exactly needs to happen. Not so much like a full-blown get tore up like you're going to have like Box of Beer, some pitches like that, but just kind of the tone of just smoking a bit and like, okay, what's my next move type tone. That's what I'd say, just an easy kind of typical type day. Ponytail with Maya is a nice one. Now this was pretty similar to Fuck You Silly with Cassie. It's like a glossy kind of boss bitch kind of step out. I would feel like good jazzy and social enjoy to kind of get here. Definitely reminds me of like early 2000s R&B, but it slaps pretty hard within these recent times as far as early 2010s go, as far as those pitches kind of happen. It's a good type tone to kind of get some of that. It is a good trendy type bop to get for some mixtape enjoy as far as those pitches kind of happen. It has some social pizzazz and it's radio ready within the tone behind it, so I do like some of this commercial gloss as far as those pitches kind of happen. Maya's kind of forgotten about in today's times. I would feel like she's kind of one that kind of had like a pseudo career here, and Maya's kind of one that's forgotten about in today's times, and even back in like the 2010s was kind of the same fashion. She kind of had like a here and there kind of career back in the 2000s. I want to say as far back as like the 90s, but she pretty much would get like one or two singles, something to that relative pitch. She's kind of like Khalees, some of those type folks that had to say. A little bit of Brandy, some of those type folks that kind of would have some of those type ones, but just, you know, Christina Milian, some of those type folks that would kind of get the occasional hit, but it's just kind of the concept. She's underappreciated. I would definitely feel like kind of underrated. Definitely, I would say. Nice bop from both the ladies as far as those pitches kind of happen. Then Up Out My Face remix is a nice one as well as like a throwback kind of 90s makeshift slag to kind of get here. Nicki has a pretty relevant verse. I like her talking about the about face on the particular verse that she says on that song. It's like some nice evening haze treat to kind of get here. It's just nice good to kind of have. It's not common that Nicki Minaj and Mariah Carey have done songs as far as those pitches kind of happen, so it's a good nice tone to kind of get that just with that sort of fare. This throwback to vintage Mariah Carey type fare as far as that particular kind of goes is some good pitch for like her standard kind of blue collar makeshift kind of traverse pitches like that. Just that slag of this, the typical kind of jury makeshift just within that tone, just like on some of her albums from like the 2000s and 90s, for those pitches kind of happen. It's a good pitch for that. So, but that's the thing about this particular mixtape. So me recommending at least 21 or 22 songs out of 20. To me recommending at least 21 or 22 songs out of 24 on this particular mixtape. I'm going to go ahead and give this mixtape. Now, I would narrow it a bit. Normally, 21 or 22 out of 24 would get a 10 out of 10, but just within the pitch behind it, the fact that there are 15 songs on this particular mixtape out of 24 that you can find on other projects, pitches like that, I'd have to say just the Young Money album has like at least 5, 6, or 7 of these. So it's just basically like getting the Young Money album again. And then like some of these songs are, Gucci Mane's 2009 album has a song on here. There's a Birdman song on here from his 2009 album, Lloyd. Some of these type folks, Robin Thicke's 2009 album, Lil Wayne's Rebirth, some of these type pitches. So a lot of repeat songs. I'm just going to narrow it down to like a 9 out of 10. I'm just going to narrow the score down to like a 9 out of 10. Really not that much just within pitch. I feel like it's still viciously excellent. Nicki Minaj is really inspired on here. She has some really great verses on here. She really had like a particular bite around this particular time. She feels really hungry, still kind of within that freestyle type mode, being like the female Lil Wayne as far as those pitches will kind of happen with it. Just a good type fair to be able to get some of that. She's not a slouch lyricist, so it's just within the pitch behind it. A lot of these do have some pretty snappy type fair. She's definitely in the forefront. She keeps up with heavyweights like Lil Kim and Trina, some of those type folks just within the standard fair. She actually, yeah, like I was saying, it's not a slouch, I'd have to suppose, within that. So 9 out of 10 score just within the pitch. Real bossed up type mixtape. This is in my opinion, this outstrips like Playtime Is Over, and I question if it would be outstrip like Beam Me Up Scotty and Sucker Free, some of those type ones. We'll have to see about some of those. I'll get to some of them, but basically the concepts of the social score, I'm going to go ahead and give the social score like a 9.75 out of 10. I think the reason why it doesn't get a 10 is just because the fact that it's just not as commonly available. Like, I question about the song Get Your Paper Up, if I would enjoy that song. It has a lot of social bite on here, like Nicki Minaj has these songs. A lot of these are pretty damn quality. Girlfriend is a definite highlight. Fuck You Silly, Me Casa, Saxon, Getting Paid. A lot of these just have some pretty good bossy type appeal. Gloss type pitch, just within like some night pizzazz and step out in between type moments, just rich and savory pitches like that. Just some excellent type fair, just centered viciousness kind of get. Nicki Minaj is pretty social in this overall aspect of just having like some good minty type of feel that just has a lot of good fair and just pizzazz about it. The 9.7. The only reason why I wouldn't get a 10 is just because the fact, like I was saying, it's difficult to track down. And I question if, like, the song Get Your Paper Up and some of those type ones would be good just within the pitch behind it. But I get the feeling it is, but it's just kind of constant. This project is just not as readily available. This probably should have been an official project. Might as well be, but it's just kind of the concept. I just would like to hope that Nicki Minaj doesn't have, like, distaste for this project as far as those pitches can happen, because it is pretty. This is a bountiful and just overall top-notch project here. But in terms of the future, like Nicki Minaj has said that she's working on Pink Friday 3. So I remember talking about that briefly when I reviewed Playtime Is Over back in September as far as those pitches going to happen, but I just look after it. This definitely has a pretty glissy type of appeal. I'm going to get to some more of these. I do want to get to Sucker Free by Nicki Minaj, her 2008 mixtape, and I do want to get to like Beam Me Up Scotty eventually, some of these other type ones. There's probably some more mixtapes like this. I want to say that there's a ton of like these Barbie mixtapes that kind of were buzz mixtapes and just promo type mixtapes that came out throughout 2009, 2010, some of those type fairs. So if they're bountiful enough, I'll definitely get to them, but this is definitely one you don't want to miss if you can find it just within the pitch. I realize the Internet Archive is down around these times, but it's definitely worth tracking down if you can get a hold of it.